The 10-lane carriageway has a total of 36 bridges. The president later proceeded to inspect the Abuja Rail Mass Transit project, also initiated by the Jonathan administration. The first phase of the 45.2 kilometer from Idu to Kubwa satellite town is already 61% completed. President Jonathan took a train ride to the national platform and one of the train stations.
I'm quite impressed. I've been wanting to come and inspect this project for a very long time, but so challenged in terms of my commitments. I think this period, I really need to. So when I'm having a conversation with the incoming president, I know exactly what to tell him. Because I've seen it myself, I've seen the level of completion, and of course, you know the usefulness of this project to us in terms of easing the movement.
President Goodluck Jonathan inspecting road projects. The Senate has passed for the third reading the Assessment Management Corporation of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2015. This is aimed at not only strengthening the banking system for enhanced performance, but sustain its contribution to the nation's economy. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Sambu is putting the report together. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has mandated the Committees on Defense, Army, and Human Rights to investigate and report back within 1 week the alleged killings of scores of villagers in some communities in Wasi local government area of Plateau State by soldiers as reprisal for 6 of their colleagues murdered by unknown persons. The lawmakers, while condemning the killings of the soldiers, said the reprisal attacks and killings of innocent villagers in Wasi are not the solution, and that soldiers should not constitute themselves as the last arbiter of justice. Meanwhile, the report of the Committees on Foreign Affairs and Justice on a bill which seeks to make provisions for mutual assistance in criminal matters between Nigeria and other foreign states was laid before the House. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor reports that the House received and adopted the Conference Committee report on a bill which seeks to provide for the prohibition, prevention, detection, response, and prosecution of cyber crimes and other related matters. A full package of the report will be coming in subsequent bulletin. And to judicial matters now, the Supreme Court has ordered status quo ante to be maintained by the National Assembly on the proposed amendment of the Constitution, pending the hearing of the suit filed by the Attorney General of the Federation, which now comes up on the 18th of next month. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, who led a panel of 7 Supreme Court justices, made the order at the first hearing. Judiciary correspondent Femi reports.
Attorney General of the Federation is seeking to invoke the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to determine whether the National Assembly complied fully with the provisions of the Constitution in the last amendment process. But when Chief Bayo Ojo, counsel to the Attorney General, sought to move an application at the hearing on Thursday, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who presided, called his attention to the need for the proper parties to be before the court, having come to the Supreme Court by way of the Supreme Court Additional Jurisdiction Act of 2004 and not Section 232 of the Constitution. The National Assembly was not represented at the day's hearing and are to be served a new hearing notice for the next sitting on the 18th of June, when counsel to the Attorney General will address the court on whether the proper parties are before it.
We are very, very concerned with the subject matter, which is the procedure employed to amend the Constitution. All we're saying is that while the National Assembly has the right or the prerogative to amend, they ought to follow due process. they ought to comply with the provisions of Section 8 and Section 9 of the Constitution. That's what we're saying.
A new National Assembly would have been inaugurated by the 18th of June. This matter comes up again. With the status quo ante order given by the Supreme Court, that means that the president's veto cannot be overridden by the National Assembly. However, this case will remain well and alive because the content and the issues to be determined would be relevant both to the outgoing legislature and the incoming one. From the Supreme Court, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
And to achieve some direction of the affairs of government in any state, the need for cooperation between the executive and legislature is an important factor that cannot be undermined. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria were unanimous in their opinions while tackling on the spate of impeachment in different states of the Federation. Oyeyemi Ajayi has more.
The present administration comes to an end, especially as a change of administration is expected in a few weeks. It is believed that all political actors of the present administration will be winding up activities to hand over to the incoming administration. Despite this, some states are still battling with impeachment problems with their governors as well as speakers. Taking cues from Katsina, Niger and Enugu states, the guest on the program explained whether impeachment at this point in time serves any purpose.
What I expect the houses to do is to focus on the remaining bills they have, on the remaining projects they have, so that the new incoming house will come in and inherit the works that have been done, not to inherit unaccomplished bills.
I have as a very big lesson to especially members of the executive, that's the governors in this case, for them to sit tight and do what they're supposed to do, to sit right and provide a very germane administration for the good governance of their states.
Other guests also talked about the importance of Britain's election to Nigeria, as well as Britain's foreign policy towards Africa, and in particular Nigeria.
It comes down to the nitty-gritty of governing. I do think whoever is in government, whether it's the David Cameron, whether it's Ed Miliband, is going to have to pay significant attention to Nigeria, because Nigeria can no longer be ignored. Africa can no longer be ignored, whether it comes to telecommunications, finance, when it comes to trade. There are so many important issues where Africa and Nigeria are so important, where we can no longer be cut off from the rest of the world.
Whether number 10 Downing Street will still be retained by the incumbent Prime Minister David Cameron or will be occupied by another person will be for the people to decide. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
In another development, the Fiscal Responsibility Commission and the Center for Social Justice is organizing the first ever Fiscal Responsibility Commission Forum to project the importance of the Commission in the economic development of the nation. Omotola Mojola was at a pre-event media briefing, and this was she brought back.
One of the government agencies affected by the Orosaya report on the need for merger of government agencies whose functions overlap is the Fiscal Responsibility Commission. The recommendation suggested that its functions be strengthened in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Policy Commission. At the media briefing, Chairman of the Commission, Mr. Victor Morocco, says their functions are not similar and that the FRC remains very strategic in the public governance process and overall operations of government in fighting corruption.
The war against corruption can better be fought from the perspective of preventive measures, which is what Fiscal Responsibility Commission is all about.
Through efforts and campaign by the Commission on fiscal prudency, 17 states have enacted the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Director Center for Social Justice advocated strengthening of the Commission rather than scrapping it.
Once you scrap the Federal Fiscal Responsibility Commission, is a direct message to the states to also do away with their own commissions. And we cannot continue with this idea of one step forward and two steps backward.
The appeal to stakeholders from different sectors of the nation to take ownership of the FRC Act 2007 and help the Commission grow. In Abuja, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
Up next on Nationwide is our Lagos Network Center, where Vera has details of stories making the headlines from that axis. Hello, Vera. It's good to see you.
Good to have you join us here in Lagos. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has advocated the removal of unnecessary bureaucracy that hinders efficient administration by the various tiers of government. This is to ensure effective service delivery to Nigerians. He gave this advice when he delivered a lecture on public policy organized by the Institute of Directors. Amechi Piles has details.
Fashola's lecture titled My Stewardship, 8 Years of Delivering Excellence, offered insight into his leadership as governor of the state. He told the gathering that building a mega city like Lagos requires commitment and transparency. The various improvements in job creation, infrastructure, pension reforms, and wealth creation, he explained, are testimonies of hard work and dedication of selfless and patriotic Nigerians driven by passion for excellence and service.
It has made our state credit-worthy, which enables our state to raise money to address today's pressing problems and pay on as she goes, so that the next generation will meet those assets that we have bought today.
High point of the event was the public presentation of a book titled The Era of Babatunde Raji Fashola as Governor of Lagos State. The 339-page book has 32 chapters chronicled the achievements of the governor in the past 8 years. President of the Institute of Directors, Eniola Fadayomi, who described the governor as a patriotic Nigerian, speaks on the relevance of the forum.
It's making a case for public trust and accountability.
The Institute of Directors was established in 1983. In Lagos, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
As part of efforts to create more awareness on asthma, a non-profit making organization, the Oluwakemi Memorial Foundation, has organized an inter-school drama, arts and poetry competition in Lagos. Olajide Bello has details.
The Global Initiative for Asthma defines the disease as a common chronic inflammatory long-term disease of lungs which causes difficulty in breathing by narrowing the airways. Medical experts say the symptoms include breathlessness, coughing, wheezing, feeling of tightness in the chest, and shortness of breath. The Oluwakemi Foundation speaks on why it is involved in creating awareness on how to manage asthma.
We set up the foundation to promote awareness of this disease, which we then realized that there wasn't enough awareness and most people didn't know what to do if someone had asthma or if they had asthma.
Some of the participants bear their mind on the subject matter.
I was really happy to see that foundations like this were developing in Nigeria, and then they were enlightening the youth and the people of Nigeria and even Africa about the dangers of asthma and how to control asthma.
It really helps those who have asthma understand that without your inhaler, you can still control it no matter what.
Although the Center for Disease Control and World Health Organization say asthma has no cure, experts say it is extremely important for people living with asthma to identify what triggers the attacks and avoid being exposed to such situations. In Lagos, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Motorists and commuters in Lagos had it so tough at the early hours of today as virtually all routes in the metropolis were gridlocked. Tunde Saiki, who monitored the situation, reports that several people trekked long distances to get to their destinations.
The cause of the traffic is said to be from the Papa area of the metropolis, where a tanker is said to have fallen across the road. This led to the gridlock, especially for vehicles going to the Lagos Island. The traffic spiraled onto the streets within the Ikeja area and the Maitu and Orile axis. Some of the commuters and motorists spoke to NTA News.
2 hours and I'm still going to Apapa, so there is nothing we can do about that. That's the Nigerian system.
Oh, yes, hold up for my good. I know we use like the waka. No motor, I don't know what happened. They say it's hold up, I don't see yesterday.
This hold up from Apapa now. From Apapa.
Fuel scarce.
Fuel scarce, there's no fuel, there's strike
now.
What is
the cause of this?
I can't really say because from Orile, that's where we enter this go slow. That's where we enter this go slow. So till now we are still on go up. I spent over 3 or 4 hours on the road now.
Over 2 hours. More than 3 hours, 4 hours.
They also suggested that traffic controllers should also rise to the occasion when such situations occur. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Back to you, Femi, for more on Nationwide.
Minister of Interior, Comrade Abamoro, has called on Nigerians to accord maximum support to the incoming administration irrespective of ethnic, religious and political differences. He made the call in Abuja while interacting with the media on the efforts of the present administration to foster internal security over the years. Let's join Timothy Yusuf for details.
In line with the mandate of fostering the maintenance of internal security and citizenship integrity for the promotion of good governance of the Interior Ministry, the Minister, Comrade Abamoro, said the present administration has lived above board. He listed areas of major achievements to include a new visa regime, introduction of the Border Patrol Corps, as well as the bilateral agreement with the British government for prisoners transfer. Government, he noted, is a continuous process and called on Nigerians to be supportive to government always.
It is a common axiom that government is a continuity. The people who are coming to assume the reins of power in Nigeria are Nigerians, equally patriotic Nigerians who also desire to contribute their own quota to the development of Nigeria. I seek, therefore, your support for the incoming administration just as much as you have supported this administration to have attained the level of developmental strides that it has attained so far.
The Governance Watch magazine at the occasion presented the Meritorious Award for Lifetime Achievements to the Minister. Comrade Abamoro dedicated the award to President Goodluck Jonathan, who found him worthy to serve. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Ahead of May 29th handover date, the incoming administration has been urged to fully implement the promised changes as outlined during the pre-election campaign process so that the people can benefit from the dividends of democracy. A group initiative for positive change in Nigeria made the plea during an interactive session in Abuja. Correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The Initiative for Positive Change is a non-governmental organization that is committed to defending all processes and outcomes that will benefit Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, religion, class, or status.
Only credible people of integrity, should man high-profile offices.
The NGO encourages Nigerians to see those that have been elected to public offices as servants who are accountable and credible rather than celebrities. The group also calls on Nigerians to actively participate in the governance processes, noting that government needs the support and scrutiny of the masses for positive changes to be felt.
We now want to go back to Nigerians and tell them that indeed this victory is ours and we must guard it with our life, our heart. We say change, there's change in the air.
Members, however, cautioned against expecting too much too quickly from the incoming administration, but be realistic and patient.
For us to just talk as if the government is going to now do magic, it's not possible.
The NGO was established shortly after the just concluded elections. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
An aftermath of elections, election petitions are beginning to pour in as Benue State receives over 20 petitions. And judicial activities also pick up as union suspends strikes. These are more as we join Marianne in Makadi Network Center.
Thank you, Femi. Welcome to Makudi. The Governorship National and State Assembly Elections Petition Tribunal in Makudi, the Benue State capital, has received a total of 26 petitions from aggrieved parties contesting the results declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in the just concluded general elections. Correspondent Tena Omar reports that the tribunal has rounded off collection of election petitions in the state.
This is the High Court 6 at the National Assembly and State Assembly Elections Petitions Tribunal in Makodi. As you can see, the court is empty because the tribunal is yet to commence sitting. According to the tribunal secretary, Suraju Gusau, who declined speaking to NTA News on camera, the PDP governorship candidate, Mr. Tehemen Tazo, is contesting the victory of the APC governorship candidate and governor-elect, Dr. Samuel Otom. Governor Gabriel Suswam of the PDP is contesting the results of the Benue Northeast Senatorial District, which declared Senator Barnabas Gumade winner, while Mr. Daniel Onje, who is the APC senatorial candidate, is contesting the victory of Senate President David Mark, who currently represents Benue South Senatorial District. Also at the tribunal, 6 petitioners are challenging elections in the House of Representatives, while 17 petitions have been submitted over the State House of Assembly elections. The Elections Petition Tribunal Secretary, Mr. Suraju Gusau, reminded the people that the 2010 electoral law as amended stipulates that aggrieved petitioners have only 21 days to file their petitions after the announcement of results by INEC. From the Governorship and National and State House of Assembly Elections Petitions Tribunal in Makurdi, I am Kena Uma, NTA News.
Stakeholders in the dispensation of justice have applauded the decision of the Judicial Staff Union, JUSUN, in Benue State to suspend its prolonged strike that has crippled judicial activities in the state. Correspondent Elias Itia, who monitored the resumption of work by striking judicial staff, reports that activities at the state judicial institutions have picked up. The report.
For over 4 months now, the Judicial Staff Union, JUSUN, Benue State chapter has downed tools following industrial disputes with the state government. This development no doubt brought untold hardship to members of the public as litigations were brought to a halt. With the suspension of the strike, judicial staff were seen in their offices. At the state judiciary headquarters, activities have also received a boost as most of the staff have resumed for their duties. Though there was no court sitting, the institution is taking stock of pending case files with lawyers coming in to get new dates for cases as well as first information report files.
It's a welcome development. We had been expecting the parties involved, the stakeholders, to have done this long before now.
Sector Commander FRC Benue State, Habu Dauda, says the command suffered setback in its inability to prosecute the auction of unacclaimed motorcycles and vehicles from offenders, non-functioning of mobile court operations, among many other pending issues. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Benue State, Dr. Philip Iyekwa, reacting on the development, says the suspension of the strike will ensure decongestion of these prisons as well as police cells where accused persons could not have access to bail.
The police will also have no problem at all now to arraign accused persons before the honorable court.
It is the desire of well-meaning people that the judicial workers will expedite actions on litigations in order to clear the backlog of cases. In Makurdi, Elias Itia, NTA News.
Since the declaration of General Muhammadu Buhari as the president-elect, a new dimension of celebrating election victory has been introduced. What started like a man's special way of celebrating with the president-elect is now a vogue as more and more people are engaging in trekking for their heroes. Jalingo, the Taraba State capital, recently became the center of attraction as trekkers delight. Correspondent Adu Adamu also has more.
Happiness and celebration can be expressed in so many ways depending on the individual. Mr. Paul Jamasuru Tankwa, a native of Karimlani, the local government area of Taraba State, decided to trek to Abuja to thank President Goodluck Jonathan for conceding defeat in the interest of the country. While taking off in Jalingo, Mr. Paul told NTA News that he is going to cover 600 kilometers on foot to Abuja to present a special award of Ambassador of Peace to President Goodluck Jonathan.
This is something unbelievable in the whole African continent. Compared to what happened in Cote d'Ivoire between Al-Hassan Ouattara and the incumbent president by then.
While Mr. Paul was leaving Jalingo to Abuja, a team of yet another trekkers arrived in the capital city from Takum. The team of 5 youths who had trekked for about 300 kilometers, arrived Jalingo after 8 days to felicitate with the Taraba State Governor-elect, Dixon Darius Ishaku. Receiving the youth on behalf of the Governor-elect, his Director General Abubakar Bawa commended the rare display of love and solidarity and assured that the incoming administration is going to do everything possible to address the issues of development in the state. As the Takum trekkers settled down in Jalingo ahead of the inauguration of the Governor-elect, Mr. Paul is still covering distance to Abuja, where he hoped to meet the President before his handing over in Jalingo. Ado so NTA News.
And that's nationwide from Makurdi. We thank you for watching. It's back to Femi in Abuja.
Thank you, Marianne. Issues related to band access, impute and credit have been identified as challenges affecting women's contribution to national food production. It is in view of this and that the Association of Small-Scale Farmers Forum has set an agenda for the incoming administration. Musa Babaliu has more.
Women are generally recognized as major players in national food production as they participate in all agricultural activities ranging from cultivation, processing and marketing of produce. In spite of this, records have shown that women benefit less from their activities as they are not favored by relevant policies and programs.
It is estimated that if women had the same access to finance, land, technology, training and advice as the men do, they will increase agricultural yields by up to 30%, which in turn will reduce the number of hungry people in the world by up to 140 million.
It is based on this that Small-Scale Women Farmers Forum appeals to incoming administration to come up with relevant policies and programs that will address their challenges in agriculture.
Review Nigeria's land policy so that women can easily own land. So we are calling on our government, the policy can be looked into, can be reviewed in favor of women.
The forum is being supported by Action Aid Nigeria to increase women capacity building in cultivation and processing, with over 500,000 women farmers benefiting. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
With high hopes in the incoming administration's Nigeria's president-elect, General Muhammadu Buhari says it will justify the confidence reposed in him by Nigerians. The president-elect stated this when he received a delegation from Taraba State on a congratulatory visit. Correspondent Ismail Musa has details of this and more engagement at the Defense House.
Addressing the Taraba State delegation led by the 2015 APC governorship candidate Aisha Alassan, the president-elect called on Nigerians to be committed and patriotic while serving the nation.
I was lucky Nigerians believed in me and they put their strength together. I assure you that the government, the APC, will eventually put in place will be a competent Nigerian government. We will never betray the people because the people, they risk everything. Some lost their lives in this cause. I assure you, God willing, if we survive the next 4 years, Nigerians will be in a position to confidently raise their heads up. That they make their own representatives and their leaders.
While commending the nation's multi-party system, which he said accords Nigerians adequate representation, the president-elect stressed the need for Nigeria's media organizations to be objective in their reportage, particularly government-owned media. Aisha Alassan said the APC victory is a demonstration of the long-awaited change in the nation's polity.
We came, felicitated with him. We'll go to the tribunal, give our facts, our evidence, which we have more than enough to show that we won the election.
Similarly, the president-elect also played host to the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Nyoku.
And I told him that he is coming in as president on a wave of very high expectations throughout the country. And I also told him that I believe that the high expectations are based first on the promises he made during the campaign to the people, but more importantly, on the general perception of his character. He is perceived as a man with a very strong sense of discipline.
Pastor Tunde Bakari was among visitors at the Defense House, Abuja. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Let's pause for a commercial break. There will be more reports on Nationwide when we return. Stay with us.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
NTA Television College JOS, the leading institution in television broadcasting training in Nigeria, offers you the opportunity to become a professional broadcaster.
On the news tonight,
available courses: 2 years diploma course in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. The college also offers short courses for a period of 6 to 8 weeks in the following areas: basic television journalism, political reporting, online journalism, basic television production, camera operation techniques, basic television presentation, non-linear editing, animation, videography and photography, professional makeup techniques, research and marketing techniques, advanced lighting energy conservation, advanced web design technology, satellite and DSNG equipment maintenance. Our courses are open to media personnel in public and private television stations, corporate organizations, state and federal parastatals, tertiary institution and interested individuals. We have molded many. Come and join the list of the professionals for a rewarding future. For details, please call 08037216725, 0803-594-1444. Email television.college@yahoo.com. Announcer, Management.
Nation building is a task of extreme importance. The implementation of the policies and the attainment of the set goals are a function of governance. On our weekly show, The Weekend File, we examine the process of achieving these goals in a transformation era. It's all about development. It's all about news, views, and analysis. It's Weekend File, your weekend companion, showing live 9 p.m. Saturdays on NTA Network Service. It's unmissable.
You are still on to NTA Nationwide, and the 24-hour curfew imposed on Takum in Taraba State has been reduced by 8 hours. The Secretary to the Taraba State Government, Gibbon Timothy Kataps, will confirm the report, and this followed the return of normalcy to the area. Correspondent Suleiman Ibrahim Hamad reports that the curfew followed an ethnic clash which resulted from sporadic attacks that claimed dozens of lives. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Assistant Superintendent Joseph Kwaji, said normalcy has been restored after deployment of security operatives to the affected area. He called on the public to be law-abiding and avoid taking laws into their hands. In another development, there is tension in Adavi local government area of Kogi State as Violence broke out on Wednesday between herdsmen and some Abuja youths from the area. A popular man known as Ayine was reported to have been killed by the herdsmen. This led to a retaliatory attack by Abuja youths on the Fulani traders at the Zango market along Okene-Kaba Road. Correspondent Yahaya Adam reports that the police, with the assistance of the military, have brought the situation under control. The National Orientation Agency is partnering UNICEF to sensitize Nigerians on the dangers of killing twin children and other multiple births in the country, as practice still exists in some communities in Nigeria. Correspondent Amina Najim reports that to this end, Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, appointed multiple birth ambassadors to stem the tide.
The investiture of Akpos Anthony and Andrew Dixon as multiple birth ambassadors by the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri. They are also Nigerian artists with the stage name Mamuzi. They are twins who, if born at a different time and in certain communities in Nigeria, would still not be twins, nor record any success as twins.
The twin and multiples are amazing children. Stop killing us. We are beautiful people.
The exploits of Mary Celesso in the elimination of the killing of twins and multiple births have recorded some level of success. It would, however, shock Nigerians to find out that there are communities that still see the birth of twins as abomination. Some of these communities are in the FCT, which is why the National Orientation Agency, NOAA, and UNICEF are coming together to totally eliminate this practice.
We had reached some communities and engaged opinion leaders and persons of influence in those communities to assist in making the message known about what constitutes harmful practices against children.
Working with the NOE, we are launching this national program on violence against children. Violence comes in all forms, and we need all kinds and all people to be part of it.
Other stakeholders spoke on why the urgent need for this particular intervention, which is not a one-off.
We cannot go a step further without establishing where this is being done and where this is not being done.
If you're talking about multiple births or whatever, you need to go to the antenatal. That is where you will be better managed.
The call by stakeholders remain that children must enjoy the right to life with no risk and threat to their existence, regardless of the nature of their birth. In Abuja, Amina Nujain, NTA News.
Television free view is one of the benefits digital switchover has to offer when the regime starts next month. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday had a chat with some free view network operators at a two-day first international summit on digital broadcasting in Nigeria.
So the benefits to the user are they would have a cheap free-to-air platform with many channels, many more channels than they have at the moment. The benefit to broadcasters is it gives them a wider audience, so potentially there's 20 million homes in Nigeria. They can even connect the box up to the internet. They can get a dongle, which can be the 3G mobile or Wi-Fi, and all of a sudden on this, again, low-cost box, you can get Twitter, you can get Facebook, you can get video on demand, you can get all sorts of features from being online.
The experts say with the efforts of Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria BON, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, and other stakeholders, especially the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, being one of the major stations in view technology incorporating, the country is indeed ready.
Talking to the channels, they're all keen to get on what will be the largest free-to-air platform in the world. NTA will be on here. I hope that your news channel will be here and general entertainment channel. I know that you already have a number of channels today available on other pay TV platforms, and we're hoping that we can attract NTA onto what's going to be the biggest platform of them all in Nigeria, Freeview.
June 17, 2015 is the day set for digital switch over by the International Telecommunication Union, ITU. Meanwhile, experts in broadcasting industry in Nigeria say they are poised to ensure the nation meets the deadline of digital switchover. This was their resolution at the two-day first International Summit on Digital Broadcasting in Nigeria. Adebola Brookston Sunday reports that the event also coincides with the 63rd General Assembly of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. Over to Brookston.
Despite the fact that June 17, 2015 is just a few weeks ahead, experts here believe that there is a need for a degree of deliberate, decisive and all-encompassing attitude to achieve the goal, especially in content management for digital broadcasting.
This digital ecosystem we're talking about, content is key. If you don't have content, I switch you off. I go on to somebody who has exciting content. The number of radio and TV stations, we don't have an option but to key in. Broadcasters will have to up their game to make sure that they can catch up in the digital process as quickly as possible. Most of the existing state-owned and privately owned stations have acquired the infrastructure and equipment to really get this going on. Our NTA Enterprise, which is the second national signal distributor, is ready. And the good thing that over the last 30 years, federal government has invested billions in NTA. Today, that infrastructure is what we're using as part of digitalization.
But there is one major thing in the mind of the regulator, which is serving a social purpose.
It is how we reflect on the importance of the viewer, of the listener, in using digital to connect, to create new content for them.
Through the leadership of Radio, Television and Theatre Art Workers Union, staff welfare should also be put into consideration in the transition.
We have to discuss about the personnel, the people that are going to operate the equipment, and what is going to be their lot.
Access to an expanding digital market, increased advertising revenue are some of the benefits the digital switchover has to offer. In Abuja, Adebola Brookston Sunday, NTA News.
The National Youth Service Corps has apologized the inconvenience experienced by corps members enrollment posted to Benue State. Director Corps Mobilization NYC Anthony Ani said that these are the swearing-in ceremony for the 2015 Batch A Stream 1 corps members and the Federal Capital Territory. Olayinka Ojo has more.
From different states, institutions and fields of study, these youths taking their oath of allegiance have come to contribute their little quota towards nation building. As every organization, the NYSC has its own challenges, as shown by the erroneous posting of corps members to Benue State, where over 4,000 corps members who were supposed to be divided into two streams were mistakenly posted to the state. Director of Corps Mobilization of the scheme, Anthony Ani, apologized to parents and corps members affected by the development.
We apologize sincerely for it. Our ICT men did not complete that exercise, and because of that, the entire 4,000 converged in Plateau.
What is the scheme doing about this?
We paid them their transport, gave them money, apologized to them, and pleaded with them to go back, because it's better than cramping themselves in the hostel where the facilities won't be adequate. So by 2nd of June, when they come back, we take good care of them.
NYC FCT Coordinator Alaola Nipekun, addressing the corps members posted to the FCT, noted that the orientation exercise will also prepare the corps members for post-service year with their skills acquisition training.
We prepare them for others to tap in.
A total of 2,148 youth corps members are participating in the 2015 Batch A Stream 1 orientation course in the FCT. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
As air power becomes a dominant requirement for military supremacy globally, the Nigerian Air Force is still capable in safeguarding the nation's airways. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Adesola Amusu, reaffirmed this while addressing journalists as part of activities to mark the 51st anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force. Saliu Abdullahi reports.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Adesola Amusu, says the Nigerian Air Force has over the years passed through various stages during which its structure and operations have been formed to meet emerging challenges. Coming at a time when the nation is faced with acts of terrorism in parts of the country, 15 months upon assumption as the 19th Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Amusu says the force has made remarkable achievement under his watch.
We equally participated in peace support operations in countries like Lebanon, Chad, Yugoslavia, Sudan, and Mali. We got involved in combat deployment of aircraft to support Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, and recently Mali. We were equally involved in training of pilots and engineers for West African countries like Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo, Sierra Leone, and Niger. We are still involved in internal security operations.
The Nigerian Air Force Chief assured Nigerians that the momentum will be sustained by jealously guarding the nation's territorial borders through air, land, and marine surveillance. He equally used the forum to commend the support received from Ukraine, South Africa, and Pakistan in the ongoing counter-insurgency operations and pledged the continuous training of its personnel. The Nigerian Air Force, established in 18 April 1964, is the air arm of the Nigerian Armed Forces, fashioned to play specific roles in Nigeria's defense architecture. From the Air Force headquarters in Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Government and relevant agencies have been urged to explore the possibilities of promoting the use of renewable energy in view of its critical contribution to the economy. This was the thrust of the speeches at the opening ceremony of the 2015 National Solar Energy Forum in Nigeria. Chinedu Obike has more.
This forum, organized by the National Solar Energy Forum, the focus is on ways of promoting the huge possibilities of renewable energy and actually getting Nigerians to take advantage of it. Studies by the Energy Commission indicate that electricity generated by solar has the capability of contributing 17% of the total energy requirement of the economy and can also be useful in pumping water, street lighting, vaccine refrigeration, and in many more areas.
Solar energy is actually the basics, and we have a lot of it in this country that has to be transformed. If transformed properly, can help in production of electricity.
Speakers at the forum harped on the need to collectively deal with the challenges militating against the actualization of the potentials of renewable energy.
There should be advocacy. There should be enough awareness to jump forward, and it's part of what we are doing on this annual program.
The opening ceremony was attended by stakeholders in science and technology, including students from secondary schools in Abuja. Chinedu Obike, NTA News.
Language is a means of communication and identification, no doubt. But more importantly, it is a vehicle for national unity. It is against this backdrop that the National Orientation Agency is embarking on a sensitization program to educate Nigerians on the national symbols in indigenous languages for better understanding. Let's join correspondent Asanta Owebule for details.
Indicated by the National Orientation Agency shows that 75% of Nigerians do not speak or understand English language. These, they say, may translate to non-respect and proper understanding of the Nigerian's national anthem, the pledge, the constitution, and other national symbols, including other relevant public information. Director General of the agency, Mike Omeri, said a structure has been put in place to reorientate the citizenry on patriotism, civic responsibility, thereby promoting indigenous language and culture.
The deeper understanding of the content of our national pledge, national anthem, would give us a clear perspective of how we can deploy the lessons within this content and put our participation in within context to achieving the desired development and progress for our nation.
Mr. Omeri commended NTA for initiating and running 3 indigenous language channels of Hausa, Igbo and Yoruba on its multi-channel StarTime bouquet. He therefore pledged the agency's readiness to use the NTA among several media organizations as platform for their language reorientation.
We are also implementing a language-based medium.
NTA's language channel transmits 24 hours and 7 days a week on the StarTime bouquet. In Abuja, Azomta Onwebule, NTA News.
Regional integration, peace and security, as well as health and electricity, were the main focus of European Union strategy for the year 2014 and 2020. This was brought to the fore at a media briefing put together by European Union delegation to West Africa ahead of 2015 EU Day. Fatima Aliu reports.
The event was to X-ray experiences and cooperation of European Union and West African sub-region on peace and security, good governance and democracy, trade, human rights, environment, as well as climate change. Head of European Union delegation in Nigeria, Ambassador Michel Arion, expressed the readiness of EU to key into Nigerians' new priority by funding a pilot project aimed at providing community-based psychological support and protection to children and adolescents affected by insurgency. The EU has been in Nigeria for several decades, is therefore commemorating the historical roots of the body on the 9th May, which date back to 1950, when the idea of European Union integration was first proposed.
We like to commemorate the 9th of May as to illustrate the fact that the European project is primarily a peace project, and that is what matters most for the European citizens. Before moving freely in Europe, you want peace. So that is this basic need that the EU has been invented for.
The 2015 EU Day described as significant as it is targeted at achieving MDGs and the year in which the UN General Assembly is expected to adopt a single framework for poverty eradication and sustainable development. Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
And the sports now, Super Eagles are moved in latest FIFA ranking. Lionel Messi tops UEFA Champions League goal scorers chart. Details on Sports Update with Kenne Imagbutiki.
The National Sports Commission has been urged to put more pressure on Cross River State to host the 19th National Sports Festival this year. Chairman, State Director of Sports Forum, Tunde Kazim, stated this when he led the Executive Committee of the Forum to the Commission.
If this tournament is resuscitated, a lot of glory will be won by Nigeria.
The forum also called for the immediate preparation towards the forthcoming All-African Games holding in Congo-Brazzaville later in the year. Acting Director General Al-Hassan Yakmoud says the Commission is doing everything possible to see that Nigerians do not miss this year's National Sports Festival. Nigeria remains static in the latest monthly FIFA ranking released on Thursday. The Super Eagles rank 45th in the world and 8th in Africa as the Desert Foxes of Algeria earned 1 point to move back into the top 20. Germany, Argentina and Belgium lead a pack of unchanged world top 10 football countries. The Nigerian Women Football League says the current season will observe a break during the forthcoming FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada in June in order to support the Super Falcons. A release by the league's General Secretary Isaac Ajishafe, however, says the Week 2 matches will now be decided on Sunday instead of Saturday so as to galvanize enough support for the Falcons, who will play Mali in the first leg Olympics qualifiers in Abuja. Lionel Messi
of the Progressive Congress in Ogun State, Otumba Olu Adebanjo, aged 85. Otumba Olu Adebanjo, who died in the early hours of Thursday, was the special advisor on information to the Second Republic President, Alhaji Shehu Shagari. And that's it on NTA Nationwide. We thank you very much for joining us. My name is Femi Johnson, but do join us for more reports that will be coming your way at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock news will also be on, and also the network news at 9. Good afternoon.